Saul as a man pleaser, that harassing the church, killing Christians, destroying Christians, when he saw that it pleased the Jews, he got even more motivated. And now, by the way, when we read this in a second, you're going to see something that will just absolutely touch your heart, and see how that will eventually, if you're a man pleaser, it will destroy you. I'm going to prove to you in a moment. It will destroy you if your mission in life is to please other people. So Herod saw that it pleased the Jews, and he set out further to seize Peter. So he seized Peter, he arrested Peter, and this was on the day of unleavened bread. And he had him arrested, and he put him in prison, and he delivered him to 4 squads of soldiers. The King James says 4 quadrants of soldiers. The word quad, 4. In each group there were 4 soldiers. So 4 groups of these 4, we believe there is at least 16 soldiers. And when I read that, I said, man, if the enemy was so worried about Peter that he had to assign 16 people just to guard him, Peter must have been doing something right. I say this all the time. By the way, I don't have memory lapses. I have a short memory. Whenever I repeat something a lot week after week, week after week, it's because you need to hear it. The reason you are under attack with so many weights of the enemy, it's not because you've done something wrong. The reason the enemy has brought an assignment on your life is because God is moving in you in a great way. Could you imagine if the enemy was so worried about you, he had to send 16 demons just to try to deal with you? Yes. Woo, somebody help me praise that. If the enemy, good Lord, let me be such a thorn in the side of the enemy that it takes 16 just to deal with me. Let me be so. He seized him, attending him to bring him before the people after the Passover. And so Peter, the leader of the church, the great leader at that time, Peter's in prayer. What does the church do? What does the church offer? Did they have a pity party for Peter? They throw their hands and said, oh, the government's got Peter. I don't know what I'm going to do. The government has them. It's all over. Peter's finished. They already killed James. We might as well just get the preacher to preach his funeral. Oh man, if I was ever seized by militant people because I was preaching the gospel, that's probably what you'd do with me. You would probably not pray. You'd probably say, let's just get his funeral ready. No, they had something that we don't have. Go to the next screen, please. They had something that we don't have. They understood that when they prayed, God answered. They understood that God was not a man that he should lie. And they knew that if they could go before God in prayer, that God would hear and answer prayer. We say something a lot, and I'll say it, and I'll probably say it again. We say things like this: prayer changes things. Can I tell you, prayer does not change things in and of itself. People pray to all kinds of gods. Some pray to Buddha, some pray to Muhammad. It's not that prayer changes things, but you know what prayer does? Prayer puts you before the person, Jesus Christ, who can change things. I promise you, if you don't want your circumstance to change, don't pray, because if you don't pray, you won't go before God. But if you want God to change your circumstance, pray unto God, seek his face, and prayer puts you before God. And when you go before God, anything can happen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Prayer changes things because prayer puts us before God.
Amen.
Who is the one who is able. How many believes God is able? Prayer puts us before God because God is able. Today, and I'm telling you, I've heard it. As sure as I'm standing here, man, I've heard people do this. Today, we don't. You might not like this. This is one of the things. I'm a God pleaser instead of a people pleaser. We, in many cases across the world, and maybe some here, we are not churches and houses of prayer anymore. Somebody comes to you and says, boy, I am so sick. And before you even think to pray for them, you say, well, let me introduce you to my doctor. Who, Dr. Jesus? Oh, no, Dr. Durston. Oh man, I'm so broke, I don't know what to do. Well, let me introduce you to my banker. Who? The banker Jesus owns it. Oh, no, I mean my banker. You know, Eric, the banker up in Edmonton. Oh man, I'm in so much legal trouble. I am overwhelmed in legal trouble. They come to us. I'm overwhelmed. And instead of offering our hand, let me introduce you to my lawyer. Oh, who? No, Jesus, no. I'm going to introduce you to my lawyer. You know, Michael Sherry, he's our lawyer for the church. Oh, Brian Barrick and Sherry. You see, what we do is it's almost like we introduce people to, now I'm not against doctors and lawyers and all these things, but before we do that to somebody, when somebody comes to listen, if I'm in a mess, if I'm overwhelmed, don't introduce me to your doctor. Pray for me to Dr. Jesus. If you see me on the wayside hurting and broken, before you ever, I know how to get to a position. I know how to find my lawyer. But what I need is for some people to learn how to intercede. Pray for me. Seek the face of God for me. And by the way, I'm not talking about a 5-second prayer. I'm talking about interceding to God until you feel something break in the atmosphere. Oh! Prayer is what will set us free.